You'll go from having barely any power to being one of the most powerful people on the face of the planet by, I think, midway in the game, and you'll still be challenged consistently. More so, while the storyline is told in comic book segments that I'll go into in a little bit more depth later on, the actual storyline told via communication through Cole's radio is actually really well done. The voice acting is nice, and it always sets the stage for some drama or something to happen in the plot that really makes a difference, and, you'll actually give a flying fuck about these characters. It's not like you're going to forget they exist, you're not going to forget their names, and on a whole, Infamous has something that many games desire, but they fail miserably to have, and that's a likable cast of memorable characters you will remember when the game is over, and when you go back to play it again, you'll remark at how the plot changes consistently. Now let's get a little bit more into the gameplay itself. The main character, Cole, in Infamous is pretty much a living, breathing battery. A guy that can shoot electric bolts right at your ass and fry you in 6 seconds flat. Pretty much, these powers may not look that interesting in video format, but trust me, once you get control of them and you get, like, let's say the power where you can control that huge ball of electricity I just showed you, or the sniper shot, you're really going to have some fun. And yes, you can shoot people in the nads with electricity, and I'm telling you right now, it fucking never gets old. But what is interesting about Infamous is the balance level that has been constructed here, that no matter how powerful and godlike you think you are, the basic enemies can still hand you your ass if you're not careful. So you do have to be strategic to some degree. What I'm showing here is early on in the game, but it still gives a good example of how you have to actually kind of wait things out, time your attacks, and be cautious. And I understand this is early on in the game, but it really doesn't matter, because even here I've watched many people get killed almost instantaneously, because they didn't consider that despite the fact that you can shoot electricity out of your wrists like no tomorrow, it doesn't mean that you're invincible. Just because you can charge up on poles and things like that doesn't mean you're going to survive instantaneously. You can and you will die a lot in this game, because one thing about it is, as I said before, no matter how much the game evolves, how much your character becomes more advanced in terms of attacks and doing different things, the enemies are always giving a significant amount of challenge, which is a change of pace from most games where halfway in, you're just like godlike and nobody can even touch your ass. Oh, lightning bolt in the balls, bitch! Eat it! The shame of doing a review of this game is that you really don't have to cover much in the way of bases. The game looks fantastic, it sounds fantastic, and it plays just as easy as it looks. All the main controls, everything you've got to do are mapped to the controller, so there's no funky menus to play with or anything to kind of tool around with, let's say. But if it had one problem, I think this game would fall into the problem that it is just way too fucking addictive. One more shard. Please let me stay awake. Besides the main storyline in Infamous, you can embark on so many side missions, side things to do, it is like ridiculous. Aside from helping out the locals with their various problems, such as I'm about to right now, there are shards to collect, things to see, and events to encounter that, it just, when you add it all up, there is so much fucking replay value in this game, it's pretty much a no-brainer that you should already own the damn game. And once you get to set objective points to complete said missions, all fucking hell breaks loose. So usually once you take out about 50 million enemies, no I exaggerate, maybe 10, 12 enemies tops, but once you take them out, and believe me, they feel like an army, you'll get to the main objective point or the closure of said mission you were on. Now here's where you get to constantly make karma choices, karma to go either bad or good.
Gonna have to get past those riot cops if we want out of here. If I fry a couple of the guards from inside the crowd, but I can trigger a riot, help keep the heat off Zeke and me. Of course, that means a lot of innocent people will get the hell kicked out of them.
If you look at my character icon on the side over there, right underneath my life bar and energy bar, you'll see that I'm a hero. That means I'm going the good path. Unfortunately, you can screw these things up or do the wrong thing and get some bad karma. It doesn't mean that you're done and that's it, you have to be a bad guy now. You get ways to come back to it. But truth be told, it's a very limited system and it feels almost half-hearted at points. So while I'm not going to say it's the worst attempt at giving a choice-based system, it's not one of the greatest ones either. That and some of these objectives are a little odd in how you could have evil karma for dropping a tar thing and infecting a couple of people in a city where the whole fucking city's practically infected, but I'll leave this spoiler free. Anyway, after you finish your objective or whatever, the map will clear off a certain portion of it, and it'll say the enemies will not return. It tells you how complete the districts are. Truth is, enemies still return, but they don't return in the mass droves they once did. The funny thing about Infamous, however, is that when you think, mission-based objectives, you don't think too much variety. Well, Infamous throws you for a loop, I guess you could say. Take a look at one of my absolute favorite missions in this game.
A Reaper conduit in the park has disguised himself as a pedestrian.
Now, I'm not saying it's the most creative thing in the world, but at the same time I'm saying it's a nice variety on what you usually see. Most objectives in games, especially free roaming games, are go here, get this, or go there and kill this person. And while Infamous has a lot of those, it varies things up. There's other missions where you have to pose for photographs, you have to save hostages, etc. I'm not saying it's the most original thing in the world, because it certainly isn't, but the way they added slight variety to the usual suspect of game things really works and really adds to it. The other thing that adds to it is that Infamous feels alive. This city feels like it's really there. People are hustling and bustling to go places, do things. And if you're a hero, they'll stop, take photographs, cheer your name out. Girls on their phones will tell them they want to have your babies. It never gets old. You really feel involved, and you'll love being in this city. And again, this is beyond the single-player storyline, which is fantastic, and I have no intentions of spoiling whatsoever, with great boss battles, set-piece moments, and a ton of stuff. Last thing I want to talk about, however, is how they presented most of the cinematics in this game.
The gate opened to a wall of razor-wire machine guns. See,
Told via some of the most slick comic book sequencing I've seen in ages. It absolutely sells the storyline of Infamous. It gives it that minor edge because it's supposed to be a little bit more fantasy-based, and it's a little unbelievable at points, but it totally fits, and had they not done it this way, this game probably would have lost a lot in the process. But because they chose this method, they went with the absolute best possible way to tell this story, and it's just one more thing that makes Infamous stand directly apart from the pack of games out there now. But unfortunately, due to this, there is a problem that arises with the next candidate here. It sets it so far apart, in fact, that the separation anxiety is very much a killer. And so, once again, it begins just like last time. But ask yourself this, Kitty Vinkies, doesn't it seem like something's missing? Oh, we'll find out about that soon, won't we? Next time on Context Sensitive. Break. Because even the most fragile of minds will eventually just shatter. Now won't they? Oh, they will. Trust me on that.